Well, I enlisted about 2 weeks after Pearl Harbor. Everybody was kind of anxious to get going and get where the excitement was. You didn't. I don't think that fear was much of a factor in those days. We were already training for an invasion of Japan itself, and it wasn't going to be pleasant. So then 2 days later, when they dropped the one on Nagasaki, then we knew it was real. And man, things, life got better in a hurry, because right away we knew that we weren't going to have to go to Japan. There's no telling how many lives that saved, not only American but Japanese too. They were training, little kids with sharpened sticks, to defend the beaches. So it was going to be a terrible undertaking to, actually make an invasion of Japan. We were scared about it. So anyway, we had a kind of a comfortable camp. We were just kind of laying around playing volleyball and that sort of thing. But anyway, this typhoon was headed around the Pacific, and finally it zeroed in on Okinawa. And so we were told, secure everything and head for the hills. So I was from near Chicago. I was a Cub fan. And the sergeant of the guard, he was from Chicago too, and he was a Cub fan. And it was the seventh game of the World Series that we wanted to listen to. And we said, there's no way we're going to leave here. We're going to stay right here, because we had a radio and, a generator and everything we needed. Well, about 8 o'clock, that storm began to pick up, 8 o'clock in the evening. And it got worse, and it got worse, and it got worse, And we said, this is not a good idea. And we didn't know whether the island was going to wash away from underneath us or what. And then about that time, the mess hall it was a board and canvas building we were, in where our radio was, and we had the electric lights. The board started blowing off of the mess hall, and it just literally came apart underneath us. And so we decided we'd get across that little bridge and go back and try to find the battalion. And, we could not get across that little bridge because the wind was so strong. We were on our stomachs trying to crawl across, and it just lifted us up. So we went back and we got a couple of TD-18 cats, and we pulled them together. And these are, great big Caterpillar tractors. And we pulled them together, and we got a couple of empty 55-gallon drums, and we wedged them between the tracks of these two cats, pretty close together. And then he got in one of them, and I got in the other one, and that's where we spent the night. We had ponchos. We pulled them down over and tried to stay warm, but we ended up with enough water, that was around our knees and our thighs, and the wind blowing the sand in on us, and you'd try to get up to see if you could see anything, and you'd get sand blasted with salt water. And finally, about when it began to get daylight, we kind of sensed that the wind was dying down a little bit. And after an hour or so, we were able to get up and walk and get across that bridge. But the winds were clocked at 160 miles an hour. We told a couple of guys what we were doing, and the word got around, and they didn't know how we could have survived. And the Cubs lost. We got in about 1 o'clock in the morning, and Red Cross had, fried chicken, fresh tomatoes, milk, all these great things we hadn't had for 2 years. So that was pretty nice. I get kind of emotional about that. Sent Ethel a telegram to be home or meet me at the Brown Palace. What day was it?
28th of November?
Probably about that.
Or December 1st.
Yeah. And then we were married on the 8th of December.